Okay, this is session 1 of Dungeon World 10 Hidden Keys. This is the final series for We Hunt the Keepers. We'll be starting a different sort of campaign in the same campaign world for next year. But this is it for We Hunt the Keepers. The concept of, I'm not going to do the concept of Dungeon World, but I will do the concept of We Hunt the Keepers. We Hunt the Keepers has a pretty straightforward setup. In the campaign world, there is this vast church. It's a massive church. It infiltrates every level of government and life, right? This church, within this church, or I should say sort of exterior to this church, there is a heretical order of monks. They used to be part of the church and now they're not. And these heretical order of monks have taken to studying these people, places, and objects called the keys. And there are 1,000 of these keys, and there are just as many of these heretical monks, okay? Or we know for sure. But in any case, the church is convinced that these heretical monks are engaged in some kind of apocalyptic conspiracy, and that they are studying the keys in order to bring about this apocalyptic conspiracy. The contours of that conspiracy are not really known to anyone in the setting. They're kind of known, but like it's all a little fuzzy and unclear. But in any case, the church fears these monks, who they call the keepers, and so they hire mercenaries and Templars and other people who are loyal to the church to go out into the world, find these keepers, these monks, and kill them. If they can secure the key that particular monk is studying, then that's great. But otherwise, they definitely want the keepers dead. Now, having said that, the church operates in really strange ways, and in fact, the hunters never, on screen in our fiction, in the game, we never actually see the hunters engaging with the church at all. We never see them getting their orders from the church. We never see that. We never see like that direct interaction with the church. All we ever see is just the hunters on the hunt. Okay, and they go out in groups. They do their hunt, and then they presumably report back to the church and get paid. They do get paid, but they never have to bring the church any evidence. They just basically report back and say they killed the keeper, and they get paid. It's all very shadowy and mysterious. But in any case, each of your characters will have, who are on the hunt at least, each of your characters will have a personal motivation or drive for being on the hunt. Maybe you just really want to kill the keepers too, but there could be more to it than that, right? And that's something we'll explore in play. Our aim for today is to tell a complete story. The way We Hunt the Keepers works is the first session is always a distinct and different story from the following sessions, okay? So I anticipate we will finish that story today. I don't have any reason to think we don't. We're getting a little bit of a late start, but it's okay. We should still be able to swing it. Once that story is complete, next week we start the Principal 10 Hidden Keys adventure. And that session next week will be the sort of like getting to know the characters traveling about session, right? We will learn much more about the characters next week than we will this week. Okay, that's on purpose. So that's kind of like how that's going to go. Tone of the game is dark. This particular session will be a little bit funny and lighthearted in certain ways, and not just because Sparkles and Yo-Yo are here. I will tell you right now that the setting is incredibly weird and surreal. Any level of like strange weirdness and bizarreness you bring, the setting will beat you times 10. Okay, so it's a weird, surreal setting, and just know that. Subject matter wise, there's no reason for it to come up. So no sexual assault, no violence against children or animals, at least no torture against children and animals. Those are kind of my lines. I've played with all of you enough to have a good sense of what your lines are, but in any case, the X card will be on the table, and so if something happens you're not pleased with, or it makes you uncomfortable in an unfun way, just exit and we'll be good to go there. Why don't we go ahead and begin character introductions? Weary, our level 10 thief, long long-suffering, who's been in the entire We Hunt the Keepers campaign. Fraser, tell us about Weary. Give us the elevator pitch on Weary.
Weary is a member of a shadow court, which is a subsect of the main church that sort of initially we thought like was subverting the church, but there's a lot of strings and puppets happening. So Weary generally at the end of each adventure, lately anyway, he kind of gets clued into the fact that he's a puppet, but then he gets reset like a Manchurian candidate, and he's right back at it. And then the next one, he's usually trying to like figure out these things, and he has some like phantom memories happening and stuff like that. But playbook wise, he's a thief a pretty traditional thief. Like it's all geared towards traps, evasion, brewing poisons, and stuff like that. But he is very caught up in the machinations of what is happening in the setting.
Yes, and maybe on the debrief we'll unpack all that a little bit more. Awesome. Next returning character, Gaiska Dawn Peak. Maria, give us the elevator pitch on Gaiska.
Gaiska is a fighter who recently who found his sword while traveling. He was a pretty generic fighter until sometime he found the first starlight, it is now in his sword, and he speaks to the first starlight, and it gives him orders, and he does them.
Yeah, the first starlight was a key that Gaiska assumed control over. Gaiska, incidentally, because he has the first starlight, is being hunted by a group of monsters called the Star Beasts. Gaiska has defeated 2 of them. There are 10 more.
Well, he convinced that he was protecting the first starlight.
He was Geminos, yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. It's a weird relationship, yes.
Yeah. But anyway, that's the thing. We also think that there might be a Starlight Court within the church. There's been a hint of that, right? That there's the Shadow Court, the Phantom Court, the Hunter Court, and possibly the Starlight Court. We don't know. Awesome. Fighter, multi-classing in a mage. I love it. Jennifer, give us the elevator pitch on Sparkles and Yo-Yo.
Well, Sparkles and Yo-Yo are a halfling and a monkey from a tribe of feral clowns, a feral circus that lives in the forests and travels around. And so, there's she can seem really like she has it all together, and she's really good at entertaining people and all that. She kind of didn't really like the feral aspect of her upbringing, but there is a dark feral side to her, and she still has all of the training from being a woods person, so she can hunt and track pretty well. But for the most part, she's a clown, and she really enjoys that kind of life, and she tends to do lots of sleight of hand. And Yo-Yo is a monkey who is a kleptomaniac, likes to steal shit, and but is also very helpful. Has like a concertina that he plays to help with his performance. And yeah, that's about it.
You're muted, Jason.
Awesome, I love it. So like a halfling, right? Very little character.
Yep.
Correct. Yep. Okay, cool. Awesome. I don't think I have any other. I've met Sparkles and Yo-Yo. I don't have any questions. I think their place in the fiction is going to be really obvious once we start. So awesome. Well, with that, are you ready to give us the elevator pitch on Alessio, Matthew?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go for it.
So Alessio, I'm playing the priest playbook. So I'm representing some aspect of the church itself. The patron saint that Alessio follows is Saint Lorelei the Worm, and her thing is sort of she's sort of a soothsayer. It's about emotions, understanding, compassion, kind of like an emotional labor type character. And that's sort of how she, they represent perfection, is that the potential for humans and other, living sapient beings to be, in as far as the patron saint goes, to be kind and to be understanding of each other. Alessio might drift those precepts a little bit sometimes. He occasionally, while he does practice the tenets and the commandments of Saint Lorelei, he will sometimes, it's not a manipulation thing, but he understands emotions and how to sort of play with them so well that he'll find himself unintentionally sometimes like telling little white lies to make people feel better, or he always generally has the intent of still helping people and helping them through, trauma or hard experiences or whatever, but he won't do it in sometimes he'll, take the less honest route in order to preserve something about them or whatever. He is a younger man, probably in his early 30s. He's got long, soft brown hair. He's got smiling eyes. He's very kind and generally warm. He's very soothing, dulcet tones, so he's very easy to talk to. He I think a little bit of how he ended up in this position. Maybe in his village or town when he was much younger, many of his friends went away from war, but he was very ill at the time and he wasn't able to join them, or he wasn't able to be conscripted. And then when a lot of them came back traumatized from whatever they had experienced, he turned to Saint Lorelei for guidance on how to sort of manage all the the trauma that his friends brought back with them to kind of help them through it. So that's his deal.
There's a really, really big open question here that I will pose to you right now. How are you involved in the bloody business of killing keepers?
Right. I was thinking that part of it could be so I wasn't sure how, like, where on the axis exactly we'd be, but I was thinking that if I did have to get into more of the dastardly side of things, I could play him as sort of someone who's definitely subverting Saint Lorelei's teachings a lot more and really going for the manipulative kind of soothing people's hope and happiness in order to kind of bring out fear and something, so he can kind of like
yeah, no, this is good.
guide.
It makes sense, because if out of character, we know that Saint Lorelei the Worm is a demon, right? So,
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense that you might be operating in that manner, right?
Totally.
In character, you don't know that or realize that necessarily, but out of character, we know Saint Lorelei is a fucking nasty ass demon. So
yeah, I think I'm slipping further and further down the path of using like this divine influence a little bit to my own advantage, or the advantage of what I see as like helping my friends, but really it's just doing bad things.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. That's a great frame for this. All right, cool. Any other questions for Alessio before we begin? We're going to do a couple of opening scenes, then we'll take a break.
No, I don't think so. But I have this idea in my head that would be funny. Is like, so some keepers bring back their targets like alive, and I could just imagine like a young priest there being like, "Oh, I'll rehabilitate you," and you think that you've done it or whatever, and then in the back they're just like, "Come on over, you're saved." Chop.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I was picturing too.
Awesome. All right. Well, in that case, Hunters and Sparkles and Yo-Yo. Let's get going. Again, this is just as a reminder, this is always a really strange, fish out of water, sketchy session. This first one, you are supposed to feel unmoored. Okay, so if you feel like I don't understand where I'm at, I don't understand where my character fits in, I don't understand how I'm supposed to know these people, you're winning. You're doing it right. Okay, so just a final reminder on that. Next session is the more traditional first session of Dungeon World. The great city of Eagle's Reach is one of the largest cities in the land. It is a major hub of trade and commerce and arts. it is so grand. There are, there are things as decadent as museums, right? Like beautiful things put in a room just for the sake of looking at them, right? Eagles Reach is so named because it is a little bit like Denver. It's at a high elevation, right? It's kind of a cool, elevated city. And the church has sent the hunters, maybe all of you together, maybe as individuals. I'll let you guys decide. But in any case, the church has gotten word of a keeper. Now, most keepers are tricky to hunt down because they integrate themselves into communities. They don't advertise that they are a part of this heretical order of monks, and they certainly don't. Their key, whatever it is that they're studying, their person, place, or object, their key that they study, they are not super open about that, right? But not this keeper, not the keeper you're hunting right now. The keeper you're hunting right now is incredibly ostentatious. He's practically begging the church to send hunters to come kill him, okay? His name is Caspian Gaul, Lord Caspian Gaul. And Lord Caspian Gaul is throwing a party, a grand party at his manse in Eagles Reach, okay? Now, I'm going to give you sort of the basic setup of the party as it kind of begins. I will leave it to the four of you. I'll go in turn to ask you where we find you at the beginning of the party. Your mission is to kill Lord Caspian Gaul, always, but your other mission is to secure his key, either hide it away or bring it back to the church. Okay. Lord Caspian Gaul is the keeper of the egg of existential dreaming. I will type that in here for you. The egg of existential dreaming is his key. So you need to find it. Do something, bring it back to the church ideally. Or keep it for yourself, whatever, that happens with keys. The church doesn't give a shit as long as the keepers don't have it. And then kill Lord Caspian Gaul. Now, the party. Lord Caspian Gaul throws these parties as a matter of routine. He throws a party for the smallest thing. If one of his servants has a baby, he throws a grand ball. If he, if there's a particularly good harvest in the village, 10 miles away, and he finds, they haul it in and he's so excited about it, he'll throw a party about it, right? He throws a party at the drop of a hat. And he seems to have endless resources. His manse is a two-story affair, more kind of a wide spread than a big, tall thing. And everyone comes to the party. The beginning of the party is always the same. You go and you stand in line. And as you're standing there in your finery, chit-chatting, gossiping, talking about whatever there is to talk about in Eagles Reach or about Lord Caspian Gaul or whatever, you're gradually moving through the line, because at the head of the line, Lord Caspian Gaul is there, standing on a riser because he's very, very short, standing there questioning each person who comes into the party, each guest. And then based off the questioning, he has masks. He has a basket of masks, and he gives you a mask that he thinks is appropriate based off how you've answered the questions. And then you go into the party, and the masquerade begins. And so at the outset, I'm going to go around the table and ask, first of all, I want to know if the hunters are here together. Sparkles and Yo-Yo, if you're aware of the hunters, I want to know that. If you're just there as entertainment, that's fine, but I want to know that too. And I want to find out where you're all at in the party at the outset. Are you standing in line, ready to be questioned by Lord Gaul? Are you working the party in some way? Are you maybe, I don't know, infiltrating it from the sewers or something? I don't know. There's a whole different ways, or from the rooftops. There are a bunch of different ways you can be getting into the party. I just want to know what that is. Weary.
I have heists, so I like the idea of maybe I looked up like blueprints or whatever, and I'm in like a subterranean level that will merge up to the house or be close to it, and then I can find my way in somehow or something like that.
We can do the heist roll like as a sort of like opening session move if you want.
Oh, okay. It looks like there's no roll. I just ask.
Oh, okay.
When you take time to make a plan to steal something, name the thing you want to steal, and ask the GM these questions. When acting on the answers, you and your allies take +1 forward. And then there's questions. Is it legit to say that I want to steal his life?
You may. It's also a legit question to ask about the egg of existential dreaming, right? So
Yeah, that might be a thing. Okay, yeah, we'll go for the egg. It seems a little bit more legit than his life.
So I think it's fair to say that maybe you've been scoping out the party. You can be scoping it out like beforehand. You can be scoping it out like in the beginning too. Right now at this present moment in physical time and space, where are you?
I'd like to think like below, making my way in the sewers or a cavern or below it.
Okay. We'll say there's like catacombs beneath. That's perfect. Okay,
Sure.
awesome. Sparkles and Yo-Yo, what about you?
Well, so the fact that Caspian Gall throws these lavish parties so often means that I would just like to be a retainer of his and be in his employ, have a nice house to live in, and just generally have something to do on a regular basis. Because being a traveling entertainer is great and all, but it's not, it doesn't have that non-stop entertaining action that I'm used to from the circus in the forest. And but this is more high society, which is something that I want to be a part of. So I'm here to, I'm mostly just here to try and become an employee of Gall's.
So you're not currently working for him. You are trying to get a job.
I think so. I mean, I could also just currently be working for him.
No, I like that you're trying to get a job. I mean, are you waiting in line?
Yeah.
With everybody else? Okay. All right. Standing in line. I like that. Gaska, what about you?
I could go the guy route, but I think that that's been done before, so I'll just be standing in line.
Standing in line. All right. I love it. And what about you, Alessio?
I think Alessio would also be standing in line, probably speaking to the folks around him. I think he feels a little out of his element in this way because not many of these people are maybe suffering very much. These are like very people who have what they want, and people who guard their emotions a lot, and people who wouldn't necessarily open up to him as much. He feels strange in this masked environment, so he's trying to kind of get his bearings.
Mm-hmm. And in the line, nobody has mask yet, right? You're actually standing in line to get your mask, but
it's more of like they all, they mask their feelings and their true nature a little bit because the noble culture, I suppose.
Yeah, and let's talk about that line for a minute. The people. Many of these people, like, they clearly come to Lord Gall's parties frequently. There's some people who just basically live at Lord Gall's house for all intents and purposes, because they spend so much time there going to his affairs. The men are dressed in their finest velvet doublets and silk capes, right, and jaunty caps, and the women, taffeta and satin gowns, petticoats, the whole thing, right? Very lavish, very expensive. Lots of people, chattering and gossiping and all that kind of thing. And so we're in the line. Let's start with you, Alessio, since you're the newest character. What do you look like right now? How did you get ready for the party?
What do I look like? Well, first of all, my hair is it's kind of this brown sort of like medieval middle shoulder length like Aragorn style hair, but it's very finely brushed, very soft. So I always take care to like wash my hair. I don't think I'm wearing a hat because I think I'm a little bit proud of it. And frames my face nicely. He's got kind of like flush, warm cheeks, but I think that I think he takes care to keep himself very clean and presentable, but not overly ostentatious. It's kind of like a warming and welcoming look. So I think he's got robes of soft, kind of like muted colors, with some whites in there, but not a lot of like glittering golds and silvers and stuff like that. Maybe a few simple bracelets, but everything on him is meant to show people that he is approachable and that he's welcoming. So he's smiling at people, even if they might not seem the type to smile at. And yeah, just kind of, that's how he presents himself in public, as someone,
Yeah, I like it. Are you trying to get information from the partygoers, like chit-chatting with them and stuff?
I think so. I think, again, in this case, Alessio, he doesn't have a ton of experience as a hunter, maybe, and he still sort of believes he's following the precepts of Saint Lorelei, in that, he's going here to kill somebody, but there's got to be, a reason behind it, or like she, in order to actually do something this dastardly, there must be,
There must be a good reason.
Yeah. So I think I'm trying to learn more about the egg. Existential dreaming that could be, like a post-traumatic stress thing. Like, I'm trying to, I don't know if these people know much about that, but maybe I'm asking about dreams, and I guess the key is this private knowledge in this case, or you said he was pretty open about this thing?
Well, he's not super open about like his key, but he's super open about like being found, right?
Okay.
Yeah. He's not trying to hide, right?
Right. Then yeah, I suppose I'm just trying to get general information, less about specifically the key, but maybe about maybe I'm trying to determine more about Caspian Gall himself, because I want to learn of his nature, so that I know if I'm like doing not necessarily a good thing, but like, why Saint Lorelei is so set on having this man put to death.
Yeah. Give me a charisma roll. Like we'll just kind of more of a custom move than defy danger. There's no real danger here.
Yep.
Get that on the. I'll give you. I'll give you.
Yeah, I got some real dice here. That's an 8.
All right, cool. Hold that thought. I'll come back to it.
Cool.
We are going to be at Holy Oriented Dragon. Really good for that dragon.
Oh my.
Really excited for him. One last question. Do you know that Geiska is in line also hunting Gall?
I don't know if this is like totally up to us. I think it could be interesting that like I know that there are other hunters here pursuing this mission. Maybe I've been instructed that I will meet up with some folks here. So I'm kind of like, while I have this nice, face on speaking to people, I'm also kind of suspiciously looking around for who could be the weirdo sticking out that's on the same mission as I am.
Indeed. Yeah, that's good. Geiska, you'll probably pick up on that too. Geiska, what do you look like right now in line? How have you cleaned up for the party?
Out. Because I do still have my armor, which isn't super. I polished it, but it's not super fancy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's definitely sticking out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, everybody else is like in their fine, soft clothing, right?
Yeah, and I'm here in full armor. So,
are you doing anything to advance the mission while you're standing in line, or just standing there being awkward?
I'll just stand there being awkward.
You'll probably pick up on the fact that maybe like a couple of people ahead of you, you'll see Alessio asking really pointed kind of questions about Gall that make you think that he's probably another hunter. This is very common. The church like sends out different groups of hunters that aren't necessarily aware of each other, right? So knowing that, what would you do?
It's rude to cut line, so I'll just stand in line and meet him once I get inside. Hopefully.
All right, sounds good. And we will get there momentarily. Sparkles and Yo-Yo, the line is moving really, really slowly because Caspian Gall like talks to every person as they reach the front door. and interrogates them for a minute and then gives them a mask. It's not the most efficient way of doing things. And so to some degree, the party or the line is the party, right? To some degree, drinks are already passing among people. Servants are already working it. It's like picking up the new iPhone at the Apple store, or at least back when the iPhone was a bigger deal. Like the line is a big deal, right? So with that in mind, Sparkles and Yo-Yo, what are you doing?
So I suppose we're just sort of already starting to be entertaining, and like we're just performing for the people in line, and kind of creating in some way just creating a raucous portion of the line, just being like, we're gonna party at Gulls tonight, and like maybe I'm pestering the servers or playing tricks on them by swapping their trays around, and they don't even realize it, and then they have shrimp when they were supposed to have champagne, and like definitely I feel like I'm definitely like also pickpocketing people, or at least Yo-Yo is. Just trying to see what we can find. But it's just a party, and I'm in my element.
Sounds good. I love it. Maria put in the chat. She wants to request that Yo-Yo tries to steal Geiska's sword. I think it'd be a fun way of getting you guys together, right?
All right.
Maybe not at this precise moment, but maybe in a bit.
Yeah.
Good. Weary, I haven't forgotten about you. We'll get you in a minute. Alessio. The biggest thing you're going to learn is that Lord Gaul has something of a servant problem. This is like something that people whisper about. I'm going to keep the information pretty surface level because of your result, but basically you're going to learn that Lord Gaul has something of a servant problem, in that in the last few years, more than half a dozen of them have committed suicide. And that's a really strange thing. And also, Lord Gaul spends a lot of time with the servants when he's not throwing a party. It's unusual behavior.
Is that like private time or like social time? Like, do I get what's the sense that I get of how he treats his servants?
It's more like he spends lots of time interrogating them, speaking to them in the servants' quarters, right? That sort of thing. It's just an unusual sort of thing. He seems to take a very active interest in their lives, right? And a number of them have committed suicide.
Definitely puts me off.
Yeah. And so just straight away, it kind of like probably should make you think that he's nefarious in some way, right? And
so definitely.
Maybe St. Lorelei has got you here for a reason. So. In any case, you reach the front of the line finally, Alessio. And Lord Caspian Gaul is standing on a little raised platform. He's very, very short. He's just a little taller than a halfling. He's like maybe 4.5 feet tall. Really, really tiny guy. He's got a little silver goatee, a little jaunty cap, and a crushed velvet, little doublet that he wears, and a bright blue silk cape. And he stands there. He is flanked by a pair of guards who are wearing very intricate spider masks, sort of gold spider masks that have like jewels, like where the spider's eyes would be, right? And he's flanked by these two guards. And he's very animated and very, very excited. And he loves throwing his parties. He never gets tired of it. And finally, you reach the front and you're there. And he says, "Hello, sir. Hello. My name is Lord Caspian Gall. And how might I refer to you?"
Good day, Lord Gall. My given name is Alessio. That is as much as you may call me. I am a priest of St. Lorelei.
Ah, a priest, fantastic. That's wonderful to hear. I think, well, I have to warn you, Alessio, follower of St. Lorelei the Worm, that my parties get a bit raucous, if you know what I mean. They get a bit risque. You may find yourself having a crisis of faith. I do hope you'll be able to hold on tight and maintain your beliefs.
Well, luckily for you and for myself, potentially, St. Lorelei covers all facets of emotion and passion. So while some may need to be inhibited in this particular occasion, some may be able to be let loose. And I like to think that I will fit right in.
He's like, "Oh, that sounds positively splendid. I'm very, very happy to hear that. I wouldn't want someone to spoil the fun. Let me ask you a question, Alessio." And then he points up to the sky. And he points at a particularly bright yellow star. And he says, "When you look at that star in the sky, how does it make you feel?"
I think I say, "Well, sir, Lord Gall, my apologies. St. Lorelei teaches us that guidance and compassion can be found from many sources, and that sometimes if we are most alone and most vulnerable, traumatized even, we need only to look to the heavens to find a reassuring warmth. And that is what I see when I look at that bright star."
That's very, very lovely. Very lovely indeed. I think I know what mask I'm going to give you. And then he turns and the soldier just hands him the mask without any kind of direction whatsoever. And you are handed a sun. It's like a little stylized sun mask. And he says, "Now put it on, and whatever you do, don't reveal your identity to anyone. That spoils the fun."
I say, discretion is something I'm not too used to, but I'll do my best.
And you move through the line. Weary. Let's talk about the heist. All right, pose your questions. This is in reference to the egg of existential dreaming.
So the first question is, who will notice it's missing?
How long have you been casing the joint?
Let's say like a week or something.
Okay. While you've been casing the joint, you have been seeing members of the various church courts going in and out, right? That's really unusual, right? You've seen members of the Phantom Court. You've seen members of the Shadow Court. You've seen members of the Hunter Court. And you've even seen groups of people whose trappings, whose symbols you don't recognize. Whatever the egg of existential dreaming is, it's big. And it just feels important. And it makes you wonder what's going on, because clearly the various courts aren't communicating with the church about it.
Do these people come and go or just enter?
They enter and leave.
Okay. And in that week, how many parties has he had?
Probably at least 2.
Yeah. As big as this one?
They're always quite grand. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay. What's its most powerful defense?
Hmm. At one point, you saw a woman approach the manse, and she had a marking on her neck, a tattoo that you did not recognize. It was done in the style of the markings that the Shadow Court and the Phantom Court put on themselves, right? But you didn't recognize the symbol. It was unknown to you. That person entered a couple days ago and has never come back out.
Oh shit. Okay. And who will come after it?
Once you steal it, once you take it, something else you noticed as you've been casing the joint is that, well, let's just say that you overheard a conversation between that woman and Lord Caspian Gall, and that woman is very, very interested in the egg being secure and not found. And Lord Caspian has assured her no one's going to get their hands on it.
And the last one is who else wants it, but I think you already answered that with the comings and goings of all those people, right?
Yes. Whatever this egg is, whatever this key is, it's attracted the attention of all the church courts and the church proper, who has sent you all to go kill Lord Caspian Gall. There have been no priests or vicars or bishops, right? Clearly, they're in opposition to Gall. So it's an open question of like why the courts are so interested in this thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if it applies in this circumstance, but the move says that my allies would take +1 forward. So I'm not sure if that makes sense or not, though.
Yeah, we'll see if it works in fiction.
When acting on the answers.
Yeah. Good. And so now you're just in the catacombs.
Yeah,
Sneak in.
beating my way through here.
Sounds good. Gaiska, you get to the front of the line.
All right.
Hello, sir. You look vaguely familiar. Have you been to one of my parties recently?
Maybe. I don't remember.
Well, what is your name, sir?
Gaiska.
Gaiska, what a fine name. What is your surname, sir?
Dawnpeak.
Dawnpeak. Gaiska Dawnpeak. Gaiska Dawnpeak. I can't help but notice that sword on your hip. What an interesting piece of equipment. Can I see it?
I take it out of the sheath and hold it. Make sure he can look at it but not take it.
Does it glow with the first starlight?
I think we've established that only if I ask it questions or use magic.
Okay,
But
so it just
normally
looks like just like a fine sword otherwise, right?
An ancient sword.
Yeah. He says, very good, very good. What a very, very fine sword. And he kind of like runs his fingers along the blade, right? His little tiny stubby fingers. And says, I've got a perfect mask for you. And the guard hands him. You don't know if maybe you should be offended by this mask, but he hands you a mask that is like, well, it's like a little pink shrimp, like a shrimp, you know? It says, here you go. Don't get into too much trouble.
All right. I put the sword back in my sheath and put on the shrimp mask.
Indeed. And finally, Sparkles and Yo-Yo. When he sees you, he gets excited and steps down from the little platform because you're shorter than he is. And he says, well, hello. Are you here to provide entertainment? You could go in through the back. You didn't have to stand in line.
Oh, but Lord Gaul, I wanted to stand in line because this is where the real party is, or at least the beginnings of the real party. And besides which, I, though an entertainer, would like a mask. And before you give me a mask, let me, and she, like, procures from behind Caspian's head, the, the red jewel of vampiricness. Let me give you a gift.
He sees it, he takes it, and says, oh, how very, very splendid. He says, are you sure you want to give this to me? It seems like a very, very fine stone. It must have cost you a lot of money.
I am merely here to become an employee of yours, and as far as I'm aware, I need nothing. And as if I am in your employ, what I own is yours, and what you own is mine.
How very, very intriguing. Very, very intriguing indeed. And he's looking at the stone, and he kind of like passes it between his fingers. He kind of rolls it between his fingers, and then he pops it into his pocket. And he says, I've got just the mask for you. And he is handed by the guard one of the wooden fish masks of Beladosk. And says, I hope you don't lose yourself at the party. Things get a little crazy in there, but I'm happy to have you on my team.
And my friend Yo-Yo requires a mask.
He says, oh my goodness, I don't know if we have little tiny monkey masks. He kind of goes and he's like thumbing through the basket, right? And I think he's probably having no luck finding a little monkey mask. And he says, how about this? And then he takes out like a little silk pocket square, right? A little handkerchief. And he goes and he kind of like fiddles. He kind of like he's fiddling with it with a little pocket knife. He cuts two little eye holes out of it, and then he goes and ties it around Yo-Yo's face like a little Zorro mask. It says, "That's going to have to do for now, I fear."
Well, as long as his identity is secure. Thank you so much.
I have absolutely no idea who he is. It's positively transformative, and I do hope you'll provide splendid entertainment for my guests. I'll send you on your way. And so, the party. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to paint the scene when we get back. I want to know what you see in the party that lets you know that, well, so this party is incredibly decadent. Like, it's over the top decadent. I want to know what you see that is like just pure lavish decadence. Okay, that's one. Second thing I want to know is, what do you see in the manse that is evidence that its primary resident is a very, very short person? Okay, so think about that. Take a couple minutes. We'll come back. All right, Jennifer, are you there?
Yep.
Okay, great. Partygoers. Whoever wants to go first. What do you see that's just a sign of how decadent this party is? And how do you know that this is a house for a very, very small person?
I'm thinking that there's like long, lavish curtains hanging there, but they've been like ensorcelled to tell stories. So like it'll be like a long red velvet curtain, and then it will like warp into a man with a sword, and then the other one will warp into like another man, and they'll do battle and stuff, and then the scenes shift.
Nice. I like it. Magical fighting.
Yeah.
Magical illusion curtains, or illusory curtains. It's fun. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then for shortness, I think a few of the servants around that are like a little bit stronger, they have like a little apparatuses attached to them so that Gaul can like step onto them and be like carried about by them and stuff.
Nice, nice. Like a Master Blaster kind of thing.
Sure.
Awesome. Alessio, what about you?
Sorry, caught me while I was eating.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. As far as the opulence goes, I think up around, kind of in the corners of the rooms, hanging from the ceiling, there's these massive gilded cages. And they seem to be covered with some sort of, I don't know, it looks like glass, but it's obviously been magically imbued in some way, because within each of these cages are one of the deadliest creatures from each of the like main provinces or areas of the world, kind of thing. Like he's brought in these exotic creatures for people to just kind of like watch, and every once in a while they'll like claw up against the glass, but whatever's been done to it means that there's no sound, there's no, whatever. It's just these almost like these miming, vicious creatures kind of thing all around the room. And I'm still thinking about my short one.
I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Guys, what about you?
I'm gonna combine them both, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
There's the stairs are actually magical escalators, and the steps of them are really short, so it's really weird to like actually go up unless you're really short.
Good. I like it. What about you, Yo-Yo? Or Sparkles? Sparkles, you may not even notice the short thing, right? I don't know.
Right, yeah, no, it's everything seems perfectly sized, to be quite honest. Everything this is a perfect house for someone like me.
Doorknobs are right where you can reach them, right?
Yeah. Even like the buffet tables, I don't have to jump up to grab the various implements and hope that I can catch the meatball or shrimp or whatever. But yeah, and I think that's the opulence is these giant, like these incredibly long buffet tables just full of the most expensive and like just outlandish food that you can think of. There's exotic fruits that buzz and sparkle, and there's like a giant lobster, that just you take a spoon and you scoop out some of the innards of this giant lobster that's like 12 feet long, and like it's just impressive spread of food, and like nothing I've ever seen.
Wildly magnificent.
Yeah.
Yo-Yo and Sparkles, as you go in, you're going to notice something that sticks out to you. Most of the guests, bordering on all of the guests, received a wooden fish parade mask just like you did. And many of them will come up to you and say, "Isn't this splendid? Every day is a celebration."
True. It is a celebration every day. I really enjoy celebrating. Would you like to see a trick?
Oh, yes, please, please. What do you do?
And what I do is, so how many of them are there that have come up to me?
Oh, maybe just a group of like half a dozen of sort of around you now.
Okay. So what I do is, I start juggling my throwing knives, while um, uh, while Yo-Yo kind of discreetly turns their masks around so that they're on the back of their heads rather than on the front of their faces, so I can see their faces, but their masks are still on.
I will tell you, I don't even need a roll here. I will tell you that you realize, to your shock and wonderment, you recognize all of these people as citizens of Beladosk.
Oh, jeez.
But they're dressed in finery. They're not dressed in their, covered in their piss and shit-stained rags, right?
Right.
And they will each, to a one, smile at you, and they'll turn the masks back, and they're like, "I wish this celebration could last forever. I wish we could take it out into the streets." And as we move around, Alessio, did you get your short thing? You don't have to have it. If you don't have anything, it's fine. It's no big deal.
Yeah, I do. And maybe to add just real quick to Jen's thing with the buffet tables of all these different exotic, extravagant foods, maybe it's like they're almost set up like to be these like different parts of the world, like below each of the hanging animals where the predator's from. There's all these like buffets that are specific to cultures or geographies around that area, which is kind of offensive when you think about it. Like they've caged up the top of the food chain basically from that place, and that these people might venerate in some way, but it's just like, oh, here's your thing on display, eat some of your food while you look at it.
Right, yeah.
And he thinks that would be entertaining for people. But yeah, the short thing is basically just that there's an area where people are, there's a painter, obviously magical painters, so they can do these things real quick, but it's kind of like a portrait station, and there's kind of just tiered steps up so that all of his guests, he's always standing in the middle of all the shots with his arms around people, so he doesn't have to be like the one in pictures where people have their elbows on his heads, basically.
Nice, good. Splendid. Weary, are you just going to like sneak up from the catacombs into like a different wing of the house, or what? What's your plan?
Yeah, depending on the layout of the house, I could infiltrate it by like way of the party or not, because I have disguise, so I'm thinking like maybe I have my thief robes for catacombing, and then below those robes I have like maybe multiple disguises or whatever prepared for making my way through the party. Maybe even through the party would be fun, because then I could have like a scene where like the camera's on me and I look like one person and then I look like another person later on, and when the camera comes back to me, stuff like that would be fun.
Yeah, so you're just kind of moving through the party, like, so you're infiltrating it via the party. I like that. I just want to go around the table and find out what all your first moves are. I mean, like, Weary, what do you do? Where do you go?
I think I'm making sure, I've cased it from the outside, but now I need to case it from the inside. So I'm making sure where security is and where I suspect the egg might be based on like patrol routes and stuff like that. And then maybe also trying to spot like redundancies, like other keepers in case I fail and stuff like that.
It's not hard to pick out the other hunters because everyone is wearing a wooden fish mask who's not one of the hunters, who's not Gaiska or Alessio. So, well, I suppose Yo-Yo. Well, Yo-Yo's not wearing a fish mask, but that's all. It's pretty easy. You'll all see each other, in fact, and note this distinct difference, right?
Yeah. Maybe I've prepared a mask as well because I saw like he likes the masquerade ones or whatever, and I'd like to think it was a mask from maybe like whatever mask Logan wore or something. Like as we see me moving through the party, maybe I even have like a bunch of masks, and now I realize that it's like not even needed.
Do you have like his weird like squid or tentacle one or whatever, the one that he got that's just
Yeah.
like the octopus that was just like you have all these like dangling bits and it's looking around, everyone's just got like a fish on. It's like, oh.
It is a fish thing. Well, to be fair, Gaiska does have a fish as well. It's just not a fish, it's a shrimp. But
Yeah. There you go. It's in keeping.
I'm kind of sad that it wasn't a boar mask like last time.
Yeah.
Different theme.
Different thing, different story. Yeah. Well, okay, so that's great. You've identified, you can see clearly that Alessio and Gaiska, you might even vaguely recognize Gaiska, right? You might have a vague recollection of Gaiska. Gaiska, what's your first move? What are you doing?
I'm going to hide in a corner.
Okay.
Or not necessarily in a corner, but somewhat hide so I can consult my sword starlight thing.
I like it. Good. Perfect. And what about you, Alessio?
I was thinking that I might approach Gaiska, but if she moves into the corner to do something sort of secretive, I think I'd like to maybe first try and find a servant to talk to. I want to see, what the conditions are around here, maybe find out a little bit about the suicides.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
he.
great.
Thank you.
Right, yeah, Gaiska's he. Awesome. That sounds great. You can slip away to the servants, to the back of the house anytime you wish. So, good. Those all sound like great things. Sparkles. The party guests are starting to. They're all kind of like chit-chatting and talking behind their wooden fish masks, and they're really like kind of assembling, like in the main ballroom area, right? They're kind of like they're almost like creating a circle around you and Yo-Yo, a wide circle, mind you. Maybe you start doing some entertaining for them or whatever. And you're probably aware of Gaiska and Alessio, and Weary, because they have different masks on. They stand out, and you'll just hear a muttering passing through the crowd, like a game of telephone. Like one whispers to one, and then the next one whispers it, right? And these little whispers go around this circle of people, this circle of guests, right? Each one whispering into the next one's ear, until finally it gets to the very end, and the person next to you, the person closest to you, walks up to you. It's a woman in a beautiful dress, wooden fish mask, and she kneels down and she whispers in your ear, "Very soon it will be time to feed the fishes." What do you do?
I'm gonna find Caspian Gull, and I'm going to try and warn him that shit's about to hit the fan.
Indeed. You could, well, so you're gonna go find Caspian. I love it. Weary, give me your discern realities roll.
Okie dokie. Let's see. I'll do orange dice. 8.
Okay, one question.
What should I be on the lookout for?
You have not yet seen the woman who entered the house and has not exited, but you remember what she looks like. Once you see her, you'll know it's her. She wears a cloak that like a cloak that's really long and covers her completely and flares out to make her look like a sort of black bell, right? You'll recognize her for sure, but that should definitely stick in your awareness. Like, where is this person right now? Okay, they are very conspicuous by their absence. You would expect to have seen them by now. Alessio, you're doing your consult. Is this the heirloom move or is this a spell?
Wait.
Or I'm sorry, Gaiska, sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, Alessia has heirloom. It's heirloom.
Heirloom. Okay, great. Go ahead and roll plus charisma.
Let me read what heirloom does again.
And in the fiction, as I recall, in the fiction, you just sort of like go into a trance or meditate. You don't actually speak to it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I will be red dice. That's a 7.
When you consult the spirits, they will give you an insight relating to the current situation and might ask you some questions in return. I will give you an impression. You are in the corner, whispering to your sword. And when you look up, the entire ballroom has gone monochromatic. It's completely black and white, except past the crowd of fish-masked revelers, past the buffet, past the bizarre curtains and the suspended animals and all that. Down a side hallway at the very, very end, you see a perfectly bright red door. Shiny, lacquered, bright red door. And you know, if you go inside that door, it will be the end of you. And yet my question for you is, why do you feel compelled to go in? How does it make you feel knowing that your death lies behind that red door?
I'm confused, but but I feel attracted to that door because I feel like it's some sort of penance for what for my past transgressions, as I've described in some time.
Indeed.
I feel like I have said about I talked about that, but I don't remember when.
Yeah. Penance. Remind us. You kind of did you kill some orphans or something, or what did you do? That was your
I
thing?
killed up my village.
Right. You slaughtered your village. Right.
Yeah.
What were the circumstances of that? Do you recall?
No, like it's weird because I know it's happened several times. Or I feel it's happened several times, and then I find the sword and then I try to repent, but I have no idea what's going on.
Indeed. And eventually the color slowly bleeds back into your consciousness, into your vision. Alessio, what's your move? What's your first move as far as learning about the servants and what's going on?
I think so. I'm walking through the servants' quarters. I'm not very stealthy, but I think I'm just treading softly, patting around, looking around for somebody who might be receptive to kind of tell me a little more details about the goings on and what happens behind the screen, right? I'm looking for someone who, yeah.
Give me discern realities.
Yeah, sure. That is a 11.
Nice. Go ahead and ask your first question. I might come back to you for the rest.
Okay. Sorry, I don't actually have the moves up. Give me 1 second.
I can probably find you a link. Hold on.
No, they posted in the chat. I would like to know, first of all, what happened here recently. I want a little more about did you say 10 suicides?
A bunch. So the number's unclear, but
Oh, okay.
an
Okay.
unusual number.
Yeah, I'd just like to know, first of all, a little more detail about that and about the people who committed suicide, if there's any links between them.
Who are you specifically talking to? Like guests or servants?
Definitely servants. I'm trying to, get them to open up to me in this way. I know they're probably guarded because of, whatever, maybe I believe that he's conditioned them in some way or manipulated them somehow, but I'm trying to be warm and friendly and get someone to open up to me, basically.
Yeah. I think let's say you're talking to, maybe you like wander back to the kitchen, right? And you're chit-chatting with a young woman who's like, rolling out, a hot water crust pastry or something, right? For some kind of dessert to come. And she says, you seem like you've wandered a bit far, sir. There's no celebrating going on back here. And she like rolls out the dough, right? Pastry.
And that is what I'm concerned about. You see, I've heard woeful tales of the people who work behind the main walls, behind the banquet halls, and behind. You see, it is my worry that you are not given a chance to celebrate enough to live life to its fullest. I've heard dreadful things. Can you tell me more about that?
She says, well, and she kind of like looks at you, and there's probably something to do with like your general like sort of practiced warmth, right? Being a follower of Saint Lorelei, that kind of makes her open up to you, right? And she says, and she begins to cry. She says, sir, I wake up every day and it's just as the day before. Every movement, every detail. She's like, I try to go outside, to visit the markets, or to see my family, but something keeps me here. Something always diverts me. Something always prevents me from walking out the doors. And I do my work, and I wake up the next day, and it's another party. And it goes on like this, over and over and over again. I don't even remember when I started working for Lord Gaul. I don't even remember anymore where I come from. And she says, and you, I think you've been here too, many, many times before.
I think I've moved up closer to her at this point. I don't push things, but I give her, she's crying. I give her a chance to, if she wants comfort, to kind of seek it in me, sort of. And I say, you've seen me, but
she's like, well, I have seen your mask and I have seen your clothes, but I don't know for sure that I've seen your face.
Well, would it help you if you did, madam?
Well, you're not supposed to remove it.
I say, and you're not supposed to be locked up here like a slave. And I at least raise my mask, put it up on top of my head. I say, there, now we can speak as people, not as symbols. Although,
yes, I've seen you. She gets a look of surprise when she sees your face.
Right.
I've seen you before. And she looks a little nervous. You can ask her next question.
Cool. I guess we know some of this at a player level, but I'd like to know, a little bit of what here is not what it appears to be. Something in the way that she describes what's going on might cause me to understand a little bit more about the situation or about her personal situation or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. She says, I'm not always on kitchen duty. She gets really quiet and close at this point. Sometimes I do the cleaning. There's a museum on the second floor, his private museum. He's got a painting of you. There's a painting of you hanging in his museum. Sure as you're standing before me now, an exact replica. Yeah. And then she kind of like gets a little nervous, and she goes back to her rolling the dough, looking very frightened.
Yeah. I think I just say, this man, this Lord Gaul, is, I don't know if Lord is the proper term for him. He seems to be some deceiver, some illusionist. How has he tampered with my mind, with the minds of you and your fellow workers?
And are you doing a follow-up question here?
Right. I guess that's sort of like, what should I be on the lookout for in that, like, you know, what I kind of want to get here is mostly, you know, you said he spends private time with them, kind of interrogating them, and I'm wondering about what's the extent of his power over them or his influence. Like, how does he, is he responsible for this whole charade? Because I would see that as, you know, deceptive and impious.
She says, I will tell you, sir. I will tell you that Lord Gaul is no villain in this. He suffers just as we do. He too experiences the days over and over again. He talks to us about it. We speak openly about escaping it, and yet we cannot. He cannot. None of us can.
And you are sure it is no trick, that he is not playing some grand scheme?
And she just kind of says, I only know what I know. And she goes back to rolling her dough.
Cool.
Sparkles. How are you just asking about for Lord Gaul, I guess? Or maybe you see him. He comes in at some point during the party, right? And he's like, why are you all standing around? Like, mingle, dance, be merry. Because again, they were all just kind of standing around in a circle, right? And the party, they all begin to kind of break up a little bit and kind of like, you know, move around and chit chat and go back to drinking and eating and stuff like that, right? And he's just being very like, you know, flitting among them, making sure everyone's having a good time, that kind of thing, right? He's always got a couple of those like spider masked guards with him. What do you do?
I go up to him and I'm like, Lord Gaul, there's something you should know. I think you're in danger.
And he turns and he smiles and he says, danger? Now that sounds very, very exciting. What sort of danger is it?
These guests are not as they seem. They're madmen from Beladosk. This is terrifying. They, I believe, will murder
Madmen
you.
from where?
From Beladosk?
Beladosk. Is that some sort of village, or what is Beladosk?
It's the city from. It's a city. It's a city in the south or the north or the west.
I made my fortune in merchant trade. I know every city, every major city in this continent and the next one over. I've never ever heard of a city called Beladosk.
Well, I believe that these guests mean to do you harm, and
Oh my!
as your newest employee, I'm hoping to. It is my duty to warn you of this.
How perfectly dreadful. And yet I have these people over to my home all the time, and they've never ever wanted to harm me. Why now? I'm very confused.
I don't understand either, and I don't understand how they got here, or how I don't know where, how you don't know where they're from. Um, is there somewhere private we can speak?
Oh yes, yes, of course, of course. And he says, "Well, I was saving this room for later, for an engagement much more delightful than this, but it is nevertheless the most private place in my home. Come, come, come. Geiska, you will see the clown and Lord Gaul going down the hallway toward that red lacquered door. What do you do?"
I will. I will look at a guard. They all have the same mask, right?
Yeah, the spider masks. Yeah.
I will attempt to switch the mask that I have with one of the guards. Like do this quick trick and try to integrate myself as a guard to
So what's your plan for switching the masks?
um make I'm gonna, I guess, distract the guard and then quickly switch the mask.
Mhm. Good. Give me a defy danger. Well, so how do you distract him? I guess just figure out what the role is here. Like, what do
Or
you
actually, I think I'm just gonna knock him unconscious and then switch the mask.
do? Okay.
Or drag him somewhere and then switch the mask.
Mm,
That
I
sounds
like
like
that.
more
More your jam.
fighter. Yeah.
Do
More
a I think the key might be just like kind of sneaking up on him well enough to like bonk him out, right? So give me a dexterity
Yeah.
defy danger.
Alright. My dexterity is 0. Okay. That's a 10.
Nice. You're good. Describe what happens. What do you do?
So I sneak up on him
Mhm.
and I basically grab him and like switch the mask while trying to, like, very quickly. Like I basically drag him somewhere, I guess, first and then switch the mask.
I see. So you bonk him out, and then you knock him out, and kind of drag him into a little closet or something.
Yeah.
And then, all right. I think he's like facing away from you, right? So you
Yeah.
hit him and you pull him in. He's facing away from you, and as you pull the mask off, you're instantly aware of a number of small spiders crawling on your wrist,
Ooh.
and his head sort of unconsciously sloughs over to the side, and he has spiders forcing their way out of every orifice, nose, mouth, ear, eye socket, just crawling in and out like a water fountain, like circulating around his face.
Okay, time to abandon the plan. And so which one mask did I take off? Mine or
Oh,
his?
that was his mask. Yeah.
Okay. I'll take off my mask and put it on him. And I'm not
Okay.
gonna put his mask on me because that seems like a terrible idea. So, but I'll try to quickly go to where these two were heading. Caspian
Okay,
Gull and
good.
this jester.
Indeed, indeed. So you just quickly follow behind. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, so Weary, you're still looking for this one particular person in the house, and also looking for the egg. What's your next move?
Well, I think I take it that these people moving towards the red door is a good distraction with the host gone. So I think I'll be looking for some place that seems more heavily guarded or hidden, something like that.
Give me a follow-up to Discern Realities with +1.
Eight is a 9.
One question.
And Maybe what here is not what it appears to be.
Good. So you are roaming around. You're still on the bottom floor. Do you go to the top floor?
But yeah, if there's nothing to be seen here, then I'll discreetly make my way up.
Yeah. You go up to the top floor, and you will. What here is not what it appears to be? It's an interesting question. Got it. You go up to the top floor, and you will see that there is a pair of double doors, and flanking these double doors are a pair of like stone statues on little plinths, okay? Like little warrior statues, stone warrior statues. And as soon as you sort of like, you've got your eyes open for it, you're looking, you're noticing, as soon as you kind of like come within a certain range, the eyes of one of the statues, the one nearest to you, like spin in their socket to like as if it's looking at you.
I'm gonna look for a trap.
Well, I think the trap is pretty evident. Whatever these are, they're probably going to come alive and smash you if you try to go into those doors.
Yeah, but the like try to disarm it or whatever that move is.
Fair enough. Yeah. Disarming the trap could be an interesting move. I'd like to hear how you do that, right? I'd like to hear like, how you go about that process. But think about it. We'll come back to it.
I have to literally disarm them.
Right. Yeah. And once you get a little closer, I'll describe in more detail what the stone statues look like. But you definitely heard the sort of grinding of stone as the eyes turn to look at you. Well, I guess at this point, Alessio, you've been given some very, very striking information. What do you do with it?
I have. After speaking to this woman and maybe, giving her some guidance on the way out, as I'm kind of walking back through the halls, I'm thinking like, I had expected for Lord Gaul to have been, have some sort of malintent with how he's handling these servants and what he's doing and saying to them in the private time and stuff like that. But she said that he tries to bring them comfort in sort of living through this strange Groundhog Day experience. So now I'm very conflicted because maybe he's not the man that I had perceived him to be, but there's still something strange about him. And, also walking into this place and seeing everyone in a mask that's different than my own has me feel a bit like a sheep in a wolf pack sort of thing. So I think, but I think what I want to do is I want to, she mentioned a statue that with the likeness of myself. And I think
a painting, yeah.
A painting. Okay. I think the clue to his true nature will lie in this museum. Or at least finding out more about what he does here.
You have but to ask where this museum is, and someone will point you directly to it. It's upstairs, and as you make your way up the stairs, you're going to see Weary up there. So why don't we have that scene between you and Weary? Like Weary, you see this guy walking, like kind of sneaking up to you. Does not have a fish mask on, so you know he's somebody different. He's got a sun mask on.
And I imagine that you see me first, as you are the thief, right? Like right. I'm not.
Yeah, he's not taken by. Yeah, he mechanically cannot be taken by surprise. So.
Yeah.
But I'm not really trying to.
I've been trying to kill him for 20 sessions now.
I'm not really trying to hide either. I'm just walking with my staff, kind of just like through the halls, just kind of like in awe of sort of the the opulence of all the decorations and the doors and everything. And I'm just Do you approach me or?
No, I stand there and I have a hand up and I say, you would do well to tread softly here. They're treading on somebody's dreams.
I think I start and I say, oh, yeah. And I kind of do a double take as I look at you and I say, you have no fish mask. You are no servant. What are you here for?
I think you know what I'm here for.
And I let out like this deep sigh. The whole time I've been looking for someone who's going along with me, and I had no idea what I was doing. And there's this like, edgy thief dude who obviously looks like he knows exactly what he's doing. So I'm like, okay, someone who I can, trust to handle things. So I think I say, oh, finally, I've been wandering the halls, asking questions, looking for standouts, but what do you know of this Lord Gaul?
I know that he is only pretending to be disarmed by us, and we will have to tread carefully in order to get through the obstacles he has placed here. And then I sort of do the ranger icon thing, so that you see the eyes of the stone tracking us, I think.
Yeah, and I just peer over and I say, so he is a deceiver then. I suspected as much. No man with that jovial a nature can be concealing nothing. Well, it still does not please me, the deed we must do today, but I think secret to the key might lie behind those doors. I heard of a painting of myself. This museum, I'm sure there are many oddities within it, and one of them might be the egg itself.
Perhaps, but first we need to surmount the eyes that are ever watchful. And my idea for this, I have two ideas actually. So first idea is my shadow court was originally based on the faceless men in Game of Thrones. So one, I might have prepared a mask of me becoming Gaul's face so that the traps are oh, it's cool, it's the master. Or two, I have an entirely different mask of somebody else and I attach it to an arrow and shoot it so that the eyes track that face moving and it's like a distraction, something like that.
I think pretending to be Gaul might be the best move.
Yeah, sounds good. Shooting an arrow close to the stones might not be prudent.
I like it though. It's a good thing. So you're gonna basically get your disguise kit out and start kind of doing that there in the hall, or I guess it maybe go somewhere a little more private and then change, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah,
How deep is the illusion? Is it makeup or what is it? Clothing? What do you look like? How are you gonna do the height situation?
Yeah, I'd kind of like it to be not even explained in the fiction, sort of like Game of Thrones, where I just become this person.
That's true. Yeah, that's a fair point. We have seen Shadow Court people in the past. They're like faceless men type face changers. That makes sense. Yeah.
And I'm Carcossian, so it might be like a blending of those abilities or something as well.
Yeah, no, I like it. Okay, good. That sounds pretty great. Hold that thought. We're gonna come back to it. We're gonna take a break here in a minute. Sparkles, you go into this room. Caspian, the little doorknob is right where he can reach it, and he pops it open. This red door swings open, and inside this room, it is so lush, right? There is a huge round bed piled high with silk cushions. There is velvet furniture everywhere. Beautiful chandelier hanging from the ceiling. A crystal chandelier lit by candles behind the crystals. Tall draperies. It's very, very opulent. It looks like it's ready for an orgy. And he closes the door behind you, and he says, "So, tell me, what have you heard? What do you know?"
I just fear that there is an attempt on your life about to happen, and that everyone in this building is involved. And so I would want you to stay here and don't let anyone in but me.
And he steps up to you and he puts his hand on your cheek and he says, "My dear, there have been many, many attempts on my life. Many attempts. Most of them have been successful. And he kind of smiles and says, he looks around and says, "Pretty lovely space, isn't it?"
Yes, yeah, it seems safe, though. That's what's important right now. Stay here.
And he kind of like jumps on the bed. It gets comfortable, right? Kind of nestles himself, wedges himself in a wall of cushions, and says, I won't move a muscle.
All right. And she leaves and kind of locks the door behind her and tells
That's
the
when
guards.
you probably run into Gaiska right then.
Okay.
Have that scene.
Hey, you! Make sure no one comes in this room.
Uh,
I'm gonna try something. And you just stay here and make sure no one comes into this room. You don't go in the room either because it's safe. And you look
Can-
strong and big. And
okay, slow down. What the hell is happening?
so all of the guests are evil murderers, and I'm going to stop them.
How?
You see those? You see those animals caged to the ceiling?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let them loose.
Okay, no. That sounds like a terrible fucking idea. I'm going to pick up the halfling.
You just grab
Yes.
Sparkles.
I just grab Sparkles. No, I just grab Sparkles so she doesn't go into to let loose the fucking wild ass animals.
Sparkles, what do you do? Sparkles, are you with us? Sparkles, can you hear us? Well, let's take our break. We'll come back in a minute.
Sparkles, can you hear my voice?
I hope this isn't too excessively weird for you all.
Sorry, my tablet crashed.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
It's not too weird. I'm definitely not floundering, but I'm
Floundering,
slowly-
that's appropriate for our fish motif today. Right?
hey. I'm slowly getting my footing, I think.
Hmm.
I like weird.
It's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing, like figuring out your character while you're in such a strange, environment and everything.
That's why it's the perfect time to do this, right? Because you literally don't know your character very well, because they don't know themselves that well. Right?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
We Have the Keepers is nothing if
I
not
agree.
a sort of implementing the like conceits and sort of meta-ness of role-playing games like into the fiction, right? So,
Right. Yeah.
Or the sort of like meta considerations are very much baked into the actual fiction and the way it plays out. So, good. That's why it's been a fun campaign. I think things are going to get a little hot here. So, Sparkles, as soon as you said your plan, Gaiska said, "No, you're not," and grabbed you. What do you do? You know?
I think Yo-Yo is gonna try and just yank the sword out of the out of the scabbard and run away with it.
Nice.
Perfect.
I love it. So this is great. We don't do PvP very often, but basically you will trigger a move, Sparkles, and then Gaiska can roll interfere, right? And then however it results is how that results. Roll interfere if interfere would make a difference, right? Excuse me. So give me a defy danger dexterity for to yank the sword and to try to get away. I'm imagining it's more of a squirrely thing than a brute force thing, right?
Well, it's the monkey doing it as well. So.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
so I can imagine this scene like just playing out normally, and then just have me chasing around the monkey. That would be great.
Well, in any case, give me a. We'll go with dexterity. Give me a defy danger dexterity. There, Sparkles. What'd you get? We can't hear you if you're talking.
Oh, right. I rolled an 11.
Nice. Interfere could matter if you succeed. How would you interfere, Gaiska? Because interfere puts a -2 on the roll. So.
I am going to. If I see the monkey, once I see the monkey going for the scabbard, I'm gonna just like try to elbow it while I have the halfling in my arm.
Interfere with strength. Go for it.
Okay. Reroll. That is a 6.
Oh. The monkey gets the sword. As soon as the sword is pulled out of the scabbard, like the minute the sword is pulled out of the scabbard, you hear a noise from inside that room with the red door. It's a sort of like a shrieking wail. It sounds kind of like the moment the sword comes out of your scabbard. What do you do? Mark an XP.
Give me that sword back.
And
Sparkles and Yo-Yo.
Are Sparkles? Are you guys like just down the hall at this point? Like, what's with? Is it Yo-Yo just running? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yo-Yo has just run off with the sword and like is finding a place to hide with it.
I am running after the monkey with the halfling in my arm.
The halfling in tow.
Like,
right.
Yes.
Good. All right. Hold that thought. Back up the stairs. So, Weary, your views of the disguise move. Is there a roll or anything that comes with that, or how does it work?
Let me check here. Let's see. Disguise.
Your actions can give you away, but your appearance won't. Okay, good. You can attempt. Okay, that's perfect. So I think this is going to be. I think you're going to have to play up that you are Lord Caspian, right? You need to present his affect as well, right?
Okay.
And as long as Alessio, as long as you're with Lord Gaul, you can go in with him, right? But it depends on if Lord Gaul can trick the golems. So what do you do, Weary?
I begin to put myself in like a drunken stupor, looking like Caspian Gaul, and like under my breath, I whisper to you and I say, "Just go with it," and I start being like very loud and boisterous and saying, essentially being drunk and acting like I am taking you to a place to like have my way with you, because that is what Caspian would do. I think priests are to his taste as well. Anyway.
I wonder if.
Oh, go ahead.
Right. I wonder if I might notice that Weary's not really pulling it off. Maybe call on Saint Lorelei, or sort of my control over emotions and of passion and stuff like that, to kind of more like Caspian, present the role better, kind of like. I don't know if he's much of an actor.
I'll take that as aid with wisdom if it comes down to it. So
okay, cool.
So Weary, give me some speech. Like you're going there and you're in front of the golems, and your transformation is like quite complete. Like you look little and everything, right?
Yeah. And I am like tottering about acting as drunk as I can, and I'm saying like, time to I don't know, I'm very hungry and you could feed me, priest. Things like that, like sexually suggestive things, so that maybe one of those keywords, or when the golem's like, "Oh yeah, it's the horny little prick, let him through."
Yeah.
Roll plus charisma.
Okay.
And then you can be aiding in the fiction at least, Alessio, but if you need the roll, we'll do that too.
All right, reroll selected. 8 is 10.
Okay, so that's working great. Alessio, he doesn't need your aid, but just tell me like how, or mechanically doesn't need it. Like tell me in the fiction like what you do to make the illusion stick here.
Yeah, I think first of all, Alessio is a pretty good actor, so he kind of like is looking at the ground, kind of uncomfortable, but he's not overselling it. And then as far as how he helps Lord Gaul, I think he notices within Weary there's kind of a sense of like Weary's, practiced in the shadows and is a competent thief and stuff like that. But when he has to put on a performance like this, I think I might notice some anxiety or something that is sort of causing him to maybe overdo it or overplay something. So I want to soothe that part of him so he can fully like embrace the role. And I just make him comfortable in this act that he's pulling off.
Nice. I love it. It works. Here's the funny thing is you approach the two golems. Each of the golems, one for each of you, is fashioned after someone from your past who you really love. Who is it?
I think one of them is my master, and one of them is Pate. I think, yeah, that was like a thing that resonates in his subconscious.
Yeah. So one is carved to look like your master in the Shadow Court, and one is Pate the Pate the Torchbearer. Good.
Yeah.
The statues look different for you, though, Alessio. Who do the statues look like for you?
There's a pair of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of the statues are my best friends, Galen and Salia, and they are the two who went away to war in my youth and then came back, and they both survived, but they were both horribly wounded and traumatized, and they were the ones who really caused me to kind of embrace the faith so that I could like bring them back to the people that I used to know them to be. So, and I don't know, maybe they've even died since, so it's even more of like a haunting thing.
How does it make you feel
unless it's interesting
to see that Lord Gaul has two golems fashioned after the likeness of Scalia and Saul?
I think it's a miracle that I'm able to keep up the facade kind of thing. I'm very used to controlling my emotions because I have to do that in order to be able to, help and control others, sort of. But I think it's it's a very deep wound that hasn't been opened in a long time. And I've become very accustomed to dealing with that stuff, but seeing their likeness so vividly is just kind of striking. And I almost lose grip on the magic that's kind of coursing through me into Weary. And maybe he like starts for a second and like almost gives himself away, but then I calm myself again.
Nice. You step inside. Inside, it is a circular gallery. A circular gallery with 10 very tall, oversized, full-length portraits hanging on the walls along the circle. In the center of the gallery, there is a pedestal. Atop the pedestal, there is a beautiful, beautiful crystal egg the size of like an ostrich egg. It's quite big. It seems to be just sort of some sort of magic holds it upright on the pedestal. And there are little wisps coming off of the egg, little miasmas, little wisps of energy, strands, if you will, web-like strands that come off of the egg and attach to each of the portraits. And there are little tiny crystalline spiders crawling up and down these strands of web energy coming off the egg. And you'll each notice paintings of yourselves, one for each of you. Among these paintings, you'll see a painting of Gaiska Dawnpeak. You'll see a painting of Archon Megalon. You'll see a painting of the wizard Logan Stormbreaker, the wizard Isabella Vergastrider. 10 people, 10 large paintings in this gallery with this egg connected to them with this web-like energy. We're going to cut away for a minute. Gaiska, you hear a shattering as red wooden shards of the door explode behind you, wood flying all over, even like gets in your back and your neck a little bit, right? It hurts. No hit point damage, but it hurts. And someone's behind you. What do?
Yo-Yo still has the sword, and I'm still
Does,
chasing
yeah.
after the Yo-Yo.
Yeah,
So
it's Yo-Yo, you and Sparkles, and whatever's behind you that just smash the doors.
I'm not even
wide
looking
open.
back. I'm just trying to find Yo-Yo and the fucking sword.
Indeed. Sparkles, you'll get a good look at it because you're just being held, right, by Gaiska. You're being followed by a person who's wearing a long black cloak, a sort of bell-shaped cloak. But you can't see their face because their face is just like a glimmering bright white light. Okay, just this bright white light where their head and face should be. And they are just following very rapidly and picking up and closing the distance. Sparkles, what do you do?
I'm gonna like try and like procure one of my throwing knives to kind of like stab Gaiska to like just not so much to harm, but to just so that like he lets go of me.
Okay, I like it. Yeah. Like that's good. Gaiska, are you interested in keeping hold of Sparkles anymore? Because if not, I'm just going to let Sparkles escape.
The sword is more important.
Yeah.
Also,
Okay. So,
am I at full hit points or?
Yeah, you guys are all at full HP.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Sparkles, you're free. So, what does it look like?
So I just like one of my throwing knives just like slides out of my sleeve and I just find a chink in the armor and I just like stab and then kind of tuck and roll and then run towards the buffet.
Okay.
Tables.
Awesome. So the tricky thing, Gaiska, is that Yo-Yo's a monkey and he's like he can jump and dance between the guests and kind of like it's a little tricky. It's hard to get to, right? Even dragging the sword, he's pretty like nimble, right? And he's pretty good at procuring things like this. you have an audio fix on him because the sword's dragging on the ground, but you can't always see him. And the fish masked people are they're almost like creating like a phalanx, or they're almost like spreading out to where you have to push your way past them. You have to kind of like stumble around to like even see the monkey or figure out where the monkey's at, right?
Mhm.
And eventually you'll both like see this person with the glimmering sparkling light face and their black cloak like enter the ballroom, and Lord Caspian is like following right behind them. Lord Caspian is like right behind them, and he says there's nothing I could do about it. There's nothing I could do about it. I fear this is the end. This is the end for you. And he says, I can't do anything to control Star Beast Cancelion. And he just kind of like recedes back into the hall. And you hear behind you, as you're desperately looking for your sword, Gaiska, you hear a sort of like a hissing and a snapping. And as soon as you turn back, I'm putting an image board on the Google Drawings. Or I'm putting a drawing on the board here for you guys. You'll see a star beast waiting to take you out. It's there looking just like that, a large crab centaur, like a sort of a crab man, very tall, probably about 12 feet tall, massive pincers, standing behind you. You have no sword. Sparkles, I want to find out at the outset, what are you doing? And then I want to find out what Gaiska's doing. Sparkles, what are you doing?
So I'm going to be like bounding up the escalator to to a good vantage point where I can try and jump onto one of these cages to send it crashing to the ground of like these dangerous animals.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds good. So that's what you'll be doing. And Gaiska, are you still trying to get hold of your sword, or are you going to try to like?
I have to. Where's the monkey right now?
The monkey is just running around between the guests. Yeah.
I am going to chase after the monkey and the sword.
All right. I think so. The thing is very big. It's very large. I think like you're trying to get to the monkey. The thing is trying to get to you. It's cutting its way through guests as well. Like it's just scissoring them. Like occasionally, just a bloody torso flies in front of your face.
Oh my god!
And this thing is just trying to get at you hardcore. Give me a defy danger with probably wisdom to find the monkey. More of a perception test, really. Miss.
That's a 4.
Mark an XP. You are just about to get your hands on the monkey, like you're reaching out. You have that weird necrotic hand, don't you? That you lost at one point.
Yeah, the necrotic hand that makes me want to kill things.
Right, exactly. You are reaching out, just about to get your hands on the monkey when a crab claw, a massive crab claw, enters your range of vision and is around your at your elbow and just scissors your arm right off. Just bones snap, your forearm and hand fall down to the ground, a spray of blood, and you scream.
Not this shit again.
Back up at the room. You guys will hear the commotion, by the way. You can respond if you wish. Weary, what do you do?
I think Weary has like a hunch that like this intricate web is like fate or like, yeah, like each strand is interconnected with like this might be some of what puppets him or something like that. Like there's a gut innate feeling. So I think he's trying to figure out which one is his. So I like the picture on camera of like all this ruckus happening, but Weary is like too enthralled by the idea of learning finally what could be like puppeting him that he is like just enthralled by looking at this and trying to figure it out instead.
What about you, Alessio? What are you doing?
I think I see Weary like approaching and, enraptured by whatever this thing is. And I'm obviously kind of feeling the same way, but I'm sensing something that's going to maybe cause him to do something reckless. Like I can feel something, within him that's pushing him to do this. So I think I would maybe just try to hit your third flag really, really quick a little bit and say, Weary, do not overstep yourself. This is obviously some powerful artifact, the one that we've come here to seek, but we do not know what properties it has. There's 10 portraits. One of them yourself. What do we share? What do you know of this that could lead us to understand this artifact?
We've been here before. We've done this, but this is new. This room is new, and we may all be connected. And I point to like the web that is connecting us all because we have an American audience. And I have been searching for this for as long as I can remember. As long as I can't remember, I've been looking for this. So whatever may be happening below, I promise you this is what is truly important.
I just shake my head and I say, this house truly is a masquerade. We should continue. I'm merely worried about if these are strands of fate, as you say, what may happen to us if we sever them.
Well, we might finally be free.
Do you want to study the egg and get to discern realities by observing it?
Yeah.
Go for it. Also, I'll mention the screaming and chaos downstairs too is a thing that is going on.
You might recognize the scream from Gaiska losing his arm again.
Yeah. I got a 9.
Could I help?
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course. Cool. How's it?
I think at this point, I have a pendant that I draw from my robes, and it actually is an abstract symbol of the sun, and I kind of hold it, and I feel like I sort of try to channel warmth into it, and it kind of glows a little bit, and I want the illuminating light to kind of cast on this egg and maybe reveal anything that may have been guarded or hidden from perception in any way.
Yeah, 8 plus wisdom.
Cool. That's an 11.
You're up to 10 now. You get 3 questions. Go ahead and start, Weary. And maybe give one to. You can maybe give one to Alessio too.
Who's really in control here?
What a great question.
That's a good one.
This egg came from the body of Malgoliant, the spider goddess, the 8-legged she. You know this because of the spiders, and you just sense it intuitively. Because you also know in the back of your mind that the Shadow Court is an organ of Malgoliant as well, right?
Can I frame it like me tracing an arrow over like a strand that connects some of the keepers, and then saying what
Well,
is about to happen?
you mean the hunters that are pictured
Yeah,
in the paintings?
yeah. Because I'm picturing it as like these portraits are on the walls, and then these strands are like interconnecting everybody to make like a web. Is that right?
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that works for me. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to like sort of probe by learning or by lining up a shot that interweaves us and then saying like what is about to happen if I were to sever some strands.
As soon as you do that and you sever some strands, you instantly recognize the person in the painting, and all of your memories of them flood back. Like you remember your travels, you remember your adventures, you remember maybe it's Geiska. You hear his scream, and you remember when Geiska lost his hand before. Yeah.
Just for context, I know my character is probably a little newer to the organization, but would Alessio have some memories of these people?
Yes, you've gone on hunts with them dozens of times.
Okay, cool.
And the next one's to you. You can ask.
Okay. Oh man. I'm curious what here is useful or valuable to us. I know we're here to kind of potentially we're here to destroy the keeper and either destroy the key or remove it in some way so that it cannot be used again by a
Actually,
keeper.
you were specifically told to retrieve the key and bring it back, not destroy it. That's actually an unusual order. They normally give you the option of destroying the keys, not this time. And so that's kind of useful, right? The church doesn't want you to destroy this one.
Yeah, and like I feel like in this case, you know, I'm curious about, you know, all these strands are obviously linked up to the egg, and the egg came from the spider goddess Malgoliant. But like, what's the function of the connection to the egg? You know, specifically with this artifact, like, are we able to glean anything about the use or the function of it?
It's meant to hold you in thrall.
So it's the grounding or the anchor, sort of, that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we're kind of illuminated in this moment, like some of these memories come like flying back into our minds. And I think I'm gripped. I think I actually fall to a knee as Weary, you know, severs the strand, and I'm breathing heavily. And I say, this Gaul, if he is one responsible for this mad orchestration, then he is much more wicked than I thought, to bind so many people to ignorance as he has done.
I would not prop up Gaul so loftily, but he is certainly involved in some way.
You're right.
I doubt that all of these things could be engineered by him, but he is certainly trying to exercise some agency in order to like manipulate a certain outcome, is what I would surmise.
Well, manipulate is enough for me. There's commotion downstairs.
Oh, I want to turn the key.
You don't have that option on this one.
Oh, okay.
You don't have that option on this one.
Okay. Is all of the web sort of like emanating from the egg?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's coming from it, like it's producing this
The
web?
egg is the source of the power, yeah.
Okay. And taking the egg would sever all of the strands then?
Destroying the egg probably would.
If I could hop in for a second, I think like maybe I like that Weary's might have not been severed yet, and I remember the memories from the other hunters and the hunts that we've been on, and all the. For me, this is important because like emotional context, like all these that make these people to me, right, and not just faces. And I think like as soon as this happens, I walk over purposely to the one that connects Weary to the egg, and I just say, if I may.
Go ahead.
And I think I take my staff and I just like slowly pass it through the strand and the cord, and I guess now I'm met with Weary.
Yeah, you have some memories of him. You have memories of being at this party with Weary before.
Right.
Yeah, all of this is like an echo that changes every single time, basically, right?
Yeah.
I say we
Back down in
destroy
the
it.
crowd. I'm gonna cut down to the other group.
Yeah.
Sparkles, you're climbing up. You see, you're up here with this cage. This it's a glass cage, very very unusual for this setting, right? Suspended with chains above the thing. Describe the creature in the cage. What does it look like?
I think it looks kind of like it's like a giant vicious peacock. It's it would have to be so ostentatious, but it's also really vicious and has like maybe like it actually has 3 heads with giant with like teeth in its beak and in its beaks, and it's just like it looks fucking pissed, right? Like but it's ostentatious but clearly dangerous.
Angry, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's I mean, it's just the one that I landed upon. Yeah.
I love it. You're up there. How do you feel about I think you just saw this like giant crab man, Kansarion. You just saw him like scissor off Geiska's arm. I mean, I know you just met Geiska, but I'm just curious about your thoughts about that.
Hey, Geiska! Well, I don't know the name of the person.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, sorry about your arm. This might help. And then, I start like trying to
Tell your mother to give me my sword back and I'll help.
And so I kind of yell to Yo-Yo. I more like whistle at Yo-Yo, and then Yo-Yo will bring the sword back to Geiska. And
Nice.
and then I start loosening the chain to let this thing crash down to the ground.
So I have a question. Did it sever the same arm or the other arm?
The same one, except more of the arm. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
At the elbow. Yeah.
okay.
And you're on the ground just screaming, right, and covered in your own blood. Sparkles, you've got time to do it because the crab thing's not after you. You unleash this this peacock creature which falls down, and it just begins tearing at the guests too. It's just this crab creature and this peacock creature just ripping people apart, clashing. They eventually face off against each other. What's your guys' plan at this point? You just gonna run or what?
So am I affected by the strands?
I mean, you aren't aware of that, so yeah. But yes, I mean, you're not aware of like the thing upstairs, but like out of character, you're caught up in the same thing that the other two are.
Okay.
Theoretically, though, as we sever the strands, wouldn't their memories?
You might, yeah. Well, it's not Sparkles. Sparkles is not one of the paintings, but
Right.
but Geiska would get like a sort of you would have like little flashes of like, this is not right, like this is a weird place, this is an unusual place. I've been here before.
And Weary would at least remember me, but that's about it.
Right, exactly. Oh yeah. Weary will have that memory. Yeah, if he's got time to sort it out. But yeah.
Yeah. Do I get the sense that at least Weary is here, since I know Weary is everywhere?
Yeah, you probably. It's probably all starting. It's probably to flood back you a little bit, right? You're
Okay,
starting to
so
have
I'm
like a
just
little bit
gonna
of insight.
yell for you. Scream at, where are you?
Nice.
And basically calling the name of each of the 10 keepers that are on the paintings. Like, as the memories come back to me, I'm calling for each of them because I know they've been here, so they probably are still here. So
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah. Back upstairs. You guys are just looking at this egg. What are you gonna do? We need
Poison my
decisive action
swords.
here.
Yeah,
Huh?
poison my swords, and I'm stabbing it.
You're gonna smash the egg up. You can do that.
I would like to interfere with that.
Why?
Don't
Why
want
would
to
you do
smash
that?
the
I think that I still feel bound to the church in a very strong way, right? Like my character is the priest. I've been given a missive by Saint Lorelei, and now that I've got these memories back, do I know a bit about? Would I know about your involvement with the Shadow Court? That
Probably not. Weary actually keeps that secret for the
Okay.
most part. Yeah. Like
Cool.
Yeah.
Weary doesn't talk about that much. That's always like side business. But it's up to you, Weary. Whatever you think.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would know. I think maybe some of the people learned of it, like Logan and stuff like that. But I wouldn't be just telling people.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it like if this is interesting, you whip your swords out and grab it, and I go and try and physically restrain you for a second, and I say, Weary, I know you lack faith, but this is a rash action. We are on a mission from the church. We have been given specific instructions, and if you destroy this thing now, it can mean the end of us all.
It could be the beginning of us all.
If you're just making the move, give me a dexterity roll, and then I'll let him do an interfere roll. If you just want to go for it, Weary, regardless of what Alessio says.
Yeah, I'll go.
But that was a really good line too.
Oh yeah, that's a 13.
Interfere won't matter. Describe it.
So you deliver that line, and then right.
Yeah, I say this could be the beginning of us, and then I have those two swords like in my pictures, those stylized swords. And I think for good measure, one of them has the more damage dealing poison on it even, and I just like stab one in directly down into like the center of the egg to try to destroy it.
Yeah, I mean it's crystal; it'll just shatter, right? If you give it a hard enough blow. Sparkles. You have the best vantage point of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You are presently on top of a metal cage that you have just opened, and a number of insane men and women have tumbled out of it to their deaths. There are metal cages all around that look very, very similar, with people just packed in like sardines, yammering and yowling and screaming. And down below, a large circular space with people chained and shackled to the floors and the walls, just screaming mad, insane things. Yo-Yo is down there. Geiska is down there. Cancerion is down there, scissoring through crazy people and trying to get at Geiska. Geiska, Yo-Yo will heed the call and hand you your sword back. You are bleeding like fuck. I'm putting a -1 on all your rolls for right now, okay, if you want to take any kind of action. But you're in this poorly lit circular stone dungeon, for lack of a better word, with dozens and dozens of insane screaming people and this giant crab creature. Geiska, what do you do?
When Cancerian approaches, and with my sword on my offhand, I will slash at it.
Nice. Give me a hack and slash.
Yeah. That is a 8.
An 8. You'll be trading blows. Give me your damage roll.
Oh wait, it's a 7 because of the -1.
Same difference.
Yeah. Damage, which is a D10, 1 piercing, messy, and forceful.
Oh, messy and forceful. Nice.
Oh, 9.
9. Good. Do you want to describe some forceful or messy in there too?
So it goes at me with its claw, and I basically sever one of its claws like it did mine.
Like nice.
Like it did my arm.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
Very good. Awesome. The thing roars, and it's not dead yet, but like the claw goes off. It's still got one good claw. It's actually got a couple of like little smaller auxiliary claws too, but the one principal claw. Sparkles, you're there. You see it. What do you do?
So
There's no giant peacock beast.
right, yeah. So the giant peacock beast was a collection of madmen.
Of crazy people tumbling to their deaths down below.
Oh, jeez, please, fuck. And
they tried to attack the creature, but it was to no avail.
Right. Yeah, of course. But we're not in like a lavish manse. No. Is Gaul anywhere to be seen?
Nowhere around.
Are there doors? Like what's?
Yes, there's one that's shattered that Kensarion just came through.
I guess I'm going to start using my throwing daggers. I mean, do I feel like I'll actually be able to hurt this crab man?
This feels incredibly real right now. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
By the way, what do I roll for damage to myself?
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Yours is going to be I thought of it before it's. Oh, let me check. I have it written down. D10 plus 2.
Oh.
With 1 piercing.
But the only door is the shattered door.
1 piercing.
Yeah, so there's a shattered door. It's like a large like kind of double doors, like really, it's shattered now, right?
Well, I'm gonna whistle to Yo-Yo, and I'm gonna get the fuck out.
Good. Open question of how you got up here to begin with, but scrambling down is a thing you can do. Give me a defy danger dexterity to sort of like jump, because there are like several cages at different heights with crazy people in them. You can kind of jump down and kind of grab Yo-Yo and run. Just give me a defy danger dex.
I took a total of 3 damage, by the way.
Okay, thanks.
That's a 5 and a 4. Yep. So that's 9. Yeah.
Nice. You both get to the door. You can run out of the door, and it kind of like leads to like a hall that kind of makes a quick left turn, and you're just bolting, right? You're just out of there.
Yeah.
As you're running, you bump into someone, a very short someone, wearing nasty, filthy rags. And you probably don't see him because it's dark in this hall, just barely lit with a couple of like nasty, greasy oil lamps. And you just right into them and go kind of tumbling. And it's Lord Caspian Gaul, but like filthy, grubby, sickly, right? And he sees you and he says, "Tell me what happened. What did you see? What's going on?"
My lord, I have no idea. All at once, your manse was gone, and we're in this dungeon, and all of your guests are just chained to the floor, and all of your glorious creatures were just packed mad folk. I don't understand what's going on. How did this happen?
He says, "I don't know precisely what you're speaking about, but I think perhaps we are nearing the end, and I think perhaps you and I are going to meet again. Go, quickly, run."
Come with me.
And he kind of says, No, I must lay my eyes on it. I must see what's going on." And he gets
All right.
up to go in that direction.
Yeah, just keep running.
You run for a while, and you'll eventually find your way back out to the streets of Beladosk. Weary and Alessio, the two of you are there as well, laying down amid the crowd of crazy people, pulling at their shackles, screaming, hollering. Some of them walk right into the crab monster's way, where it just like scissors them and kills them. You're not shackled or anything. Weary, what do you do?
I am going to defend Gaiska if I can, if they're still being attacked.
They are indeed. Well, plus, how are you doing it? Just like kind of distracting the creature, or what?
I like the visual of maybe the claw coming down, and then I'm suddenly like in the way of it with my sword up.
Okay, nice, yeah. So you're there in the melee, but just kind of like doing a defensive like kind of position. I like that. Roll plus con.
Mm-hmm. It's 5. I'm back at it.
Indeed. What about you, Alessio? What will you be doing?
So just to clarify, have we head downstairs of our own volition, or
you're just down there in this pit of crazy people?
So it was like stab into the egg, and now we're just down
you're
there,
just there,
right?
Yep, you're just there.
Okay.
There's no upper floor at all. It's just a tall cylindrical chamber, right?
Okay, and there's a giant one-armed crab monster, and there's Gaiska and
tons of crazy people. You just saw some crazy people tumble out of a cage to their deaths down to the ground.
I think for a moment I'm struck as I kind of stare around at the chaos and confusion all around me and all these like lost, horrified, tortured souls. And I think I'm like, at this moment I feel like my the pendant on my neck kind of glowing warmly, and I think I'd like to I'm trying to decide between an invocation or lead the flock.
The latter would be very interesting. I'm curious who you'd be preaching to. Probably an invocation. What's your desired effect here?
With all these mad folk around me, I think I'd like to bolster my deity's worshippers, all of the crazy people, and get them to sort of stop, rioting and flailing around and do. So we've been sent here to kill Lord Caspian, and Lord Caspian is somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You remember Gaiska now too.
Yeah. You'll see Gaiska. Yeah, like Gaiska's there, clearly like in danger, right? Fighting his way with severed limb, trying to kill this creature.
And Weary just bombed a roll, right?
Oh yeah. I'm following up on that in a minute.
Okay. Oh man. Well, I would like to. And Gaul is out of sight entirely, right?
You don't see him yet. Yeah, it's too chaotic, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd like to either control the emotions of everybody within this room to get them to help Gaiska and like unite and fight against this star fiend thing.
Yeah, that's good.
Does that sound good? Okay.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that as a lead the flock. Like you begin like preaching to this like crazy mass to try to get them to quote deliver the star beast to you. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was going for first. I think my voice just rings out and says, the darkness has been lifted, embrace your destiny, do not fall in this time of peril, kind of thing. And roll plus charisma, right?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, see if you get anyone's attention in this.
All right, that's a 5.
Mark an XP. Weary.
Oh boy.
You are the crab creature like swings its single big claw like toward you, catches you by the throat and like by the neck, and lifts you up. With the barest movement of its claw muscle, your head is going right off and rolling to the stone. Geiska, what do you do?
I am going to stab that creature before it can kill Weary, because that would be a terrible thing.
Yeah. Are you going to try to stab it to free Weary or to kill it?
To free Weary.
Okay. Defy danger strength.
Right. That is an 11.
Nice. Describe how you free Weary.
I stab it in the arm. I was thinking of stabbing it in the chest to kill it, but I figured Weary is more important now. So I stab it in the arm instead, and it lets go.
Nice. Weary, you're safe. You're fine. Sparkles. You're on the streets of Belet Osk. You go down a tunnel, up some stairs, and it just lets out into the stairs were just like connected to some nondescript building. You know the city well. This is your home city. You can hear the yelling and the screaming and the chaos, but there's yelling and screaming and chaos all the time in Belet Osk, right? Screaming, madmen screaming in the bowels of the city is nothing unusual. Where do you go? What do you do?
I'm just like, oh, fuck. This is not where I need to be.
Yo-Yo is already like he's already like looking at marks to steal from.
Right.
He's ready to go back to his day.
Right, yeah. And I'm just like, I'm drawn back to where I just came from, because it's just like, I have no idea how the fuck that just happened, and I don't particularly want to be back in Belet Osk. I was trying to get the fuck away, right? And now here I am. And, I could try to leave again, but am I just going to wind up back here? So I think I'm going to go, and because the person whose sword I stole seems to actually know what's going on, or seems to have some indication of such. And so I think I'm going to go back and help, I guess, and try to get some information, because this is nuts, and that's saying something. So I'm just going to run back and maybe try and do something to hurt this crab person.
Well, so here's what you see. Here's the situation.
Yeah.
Your preaching was a little too good, Alessio. You have touched their hearts. Whatever your words, as you call them out, the divine power of Saint Lorelei has filled them with a frenzy. All the people chained up at various places in this vast circular room, they are grabbing at Weary and pulling him down. They are grabbing at Geiska and pulling him down. They are grabbing at you and pulling you down. They're swarming the crab creature and pulling it down. And they are going to pull and tear and rip at all of you. Sparkles, you see this. This is your chance to be a hero.
Oh. I am
No sign of
going
gall, by the way.
to...
No sign of gall at all.
No sign of gall. And so they're about to tear into the whole crowd is about to tear into Alessio.
They've just swarmed and pulled everybody down to the ground, and it's going to be a Handmaid's Tale kind of shit right here, where they just rip everybody
I think
apart.
basically the two primary emotions were fear and aggression, and I soothed their fear in attempts to get them to unite, and all that was left was just savagery.
Just savagery is all they've got. Yep.
Yeah.
What can I do here? I guess I'm gonna just start singing a song. I'm just going to like just start like performing like a clown. I'm just gonna start clowning around, and like my monkey's gonna get out his concertina, and I'm just going to start performing. Yeah.
I think that's perfect.
That's the only thing I can do.
That's so Belladosque. You're like composing
Yeah,
the accompaniment to our demise, basically.
I'm just gonna try to distract them.
Defy danger, charisma.
Uh, 6 and a 3 plus 1 is 10.
Very nice. So you're doing your little dance. You're doing your little song. What's the song about?
I think it's a traditional I think it's just a song about Beware the Fish Parade sort of song, and you know that they're coming for you, and you need to be out of sight and out of mind in order to stay away from the fish parade. Trying to like maybe scare them into thinking that the fish parade is coming for them because they're angry, but you know, maybe if I bring their fear back, they will stop trying to tear into these only people who know what's going on.
One of the people who is swarming the crab creature looks up. He's got like one of the little smaller claws in his hand, right? And we just see the limbs, the legs of Cancerion kind of kicking around a little bit under this swarm of people. And he looks up and he points at you, Sparkles, and he goes, and then another one who managed to get their hands on a person who it seems managed to get their hands on Geiska's arm, removes his mouth from it, face covered in blood from the stump, and looks up, and he also begins like pointing and laughing. And the few that were like tearing at you, Weary, they let up to your great satisfaction, and they begin to like point and laugh, and suddenly everyone is just like laughing and cheering and dancing, and their chains are rattling around, and the people in the cages are shaking the cages, and it's just this echoing laughter all throughout this strange space. I think Yo-Yo gives a little "come hither" to the three of you. And Cancerion is there, ripped apart and destroyed. Do you all leave?
Mm-hmm, yeah, I do.
Yes.
I'm wondering, just out of character, does the key that I took from Mary Abattoir have anything to do with this as well? Could that be used in any way?
What was the key?
Remember, I just remember talking to a spider god, and there was a key, and it didn't tell me.
The Shadow Vault key, not a key. Yeah. He has because Weir's got 2 Shadow Vault keys now. Possibly, I don't know. Possibly the Shadow Vault keys are their own mystery.
Okay.
I assume you all carefully sneak out, gather your things as best you can, and leave. Is that a fair assumption?
Oh yeah. GTF.
I have to leave my arm behind or do I leave my arm behind?
I think you ought. That guy was really enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, limping out with my staff. Yeah.
Into the into the piss and shit smelling air of Belet Osk. And that's where we end our session. I'll be on Discord in a couple of minutes. I'm going to go take a quick bio break, but I'll be on Discord in like 3 or 4 minutes. All right?
Cool.
Okay.